welcome to our Monday night broadcast. Tonight we are going to be discussing body shaming and how to handle disappointment. If you are new to joining me either on YouTube or Facebook, welcome. I always appreciate the fact that you are here. Please take a second to hit that subscribe button on YouTube and that like button on Facebook if you have not yet done so. I always welcome new amazing women into this amazing community that we already have going for us. As you jump on, please take a second to hit that or leave me a comment in the comment section so that I know that you are here. After I briefly discuss the topics for this evening, I will open up the floor for comments and any kind of concerns that you might have regarding the topic that we will be discussing tonight. But like I said, my name is Diane, and for the past 25 years, I have been helping women find nutrition plans and fitness programs to help them look and feel their best and live their most authentic life. I am now a certified exercise nutrition coach, and here in this community, we practice intermittent fasting and developing a keto-like lifestyle so that we can look and feel our best and live our most authentic life. So tonight we are going to be discussing body shaming and disappointment and how to handle both of those two situations. So body shaming is really defined or described in three different styles, if you will. The first being criticizing your own appearance. So you can body shame yourself, and I know there are a lot of women who really feel insecure about their bodies and definitely talk in a negative way, maybe about weight that they've gained or certain aspects of their physique that they're not happy with. I used to be a self-shamer when it came to my body, but probably in the last 3 or 4 years or so, as I've been through this healing process, I really do try to find the best aspects of my body and really try to focus on those. But criticizing our own appearance is really something that I know a lot of women have a really difficult time with overcoming. The second area that we can kind of categorize body shaming is criticizing another person's appearance in front of them. And in my opinion, that is just a really a mean type of person that is going to put another person down right to their face. I grew up in that type of household. Both of my parents were really mean to myself in regards to certain aspects of my body. And it was something that I think perpetuated my own body shaming kind of vocabulary and thoughts that I had in my own head about my own body. It's just sort of a thing that I was taught. But in my opinion, I think from my own personal experience, I think that when you do shame someone else in front of them or you do it publicly to them, that it is just really, a low blow and is just a real sort of way of showing your true colors, which are not the best. And then the third body shaming category is criticizing another's appearance behind their back. And I know women can be really guilty of this as well. You can be really nice to someone in their face, and as soon as they walk out of the room and you're with other women, and if you don't like that person or maybe you feel insecure around that person, then shaming them as soon as they leave is something that can be very commonplace. And why is it that we as women do this to each other? And why is it that we can't just learn how to really appreciate and love our own bodies and do the same for other women? And a lot of times it's just that whole comparison and shame aspect of our own personalities that really do lead us to body shaming, whether it's to ourselves, whether it's behind someone's back, or it's really taking a stab at someone and doing that to embarrass them or kind of bring them down publicly. And I think a lot of it has to do with how we are portrayed in, social media or media in general, and the fact that we are constantly compared to images of what a woman should be that aren't always very realistic. And so I think that's where the body shaming personally really can begin for a lot of women. It can happen at a very young age. I know for me, like I said, I grew up in a house where negative talk about bodies was very commonplace. So it was something that I just sort of grew up in and had in my own head of speaking in my own vocabulary to myself in a very negative way. And I'm very sensitive to it when I see other people doing it to other individuals. And so I think because I know how much it hurts and I know how much it hurt me. And so I'm always very defensive of that type of situation. And if you've noticed here in this community, I don't tolerate it at all. I just don't think that there's any room for body shaming whatsoever. Uh, um, Another reason body shaming is so prevalent, I think, today is the fact that for a lot of us, we don't know how to handle our own emotions. So we can attack for a reason that has nothing to do with the attack itself. And that is just something that I think has to really be worked on specifically and purposefully for us to be able to kind of shed that behavior that we, again, can be conditioned to act out on. So body shaming can happen when we're upset with a person or a situation. We might be annoyed with something, and it could be an internal annoyance, or we're intimidated by someone. So let's say we're on this mission to lose weight and feel better, and we're with someone who maybe is celebrating the fact that they just lost 10 pounds. And that could make us internally feel really disappointed and upset with ourselves. And the only way we know how to deal with our own feelings is to outwardly lash out on someone else, whether, again, you do it behind their back or you do it to their face, or we take that someone else's success and we internalize that that feeling of our own self disappointment, and we turn on ourselves, and then we get that negative self-talk in our head. And I know for a lot of women, that's where we really get to that point where we say, oh, forget it, I'm going to quit at this, because it's obviously so much easier for that person, and I'm just not going to be ever able and capable of ever reaching that goal. So we end up quitting, when the reality is we don't know that person's whole story, and it was probably just as difficult for them to achieve their success as it is for you on your journey to achieve your success. And so we really need to stop doing that comparison and shame game, and really think about our own personal situation and find happiness in other people's success, and use that happiness as a sense of motivation and not a sense of internal disappointment that takes us to that ugly and insecure place. When we don't want to admit our own vulnerability or our own insecurities, we really can find it easier to let those feelings be targeted outward at other people. And I just kind of describe that in situations where we've seen other people celebrate big victories, and then we feel bad about ourselves. And so the natural reaction is to kind of like put negativity on them, because we're feeling negative ourselves. And so if we do the work to heal ourselves on the inside, and that's why in this community here, I focus so much on feelings and personal development and really creating a positive mindset in the way that we speak to ourselves, the way we speak about ourselves. Because if we can be internally positive, both the way we speak about ourselves and the way we feel about ourselves, and we can find some of those wins, then it's just natural for us to exude positivity. And we can really be in that place where we can wholeheartedly congratulate someone else when they have a victory, even if we're still on our own journey. So how do we stop being a body shamer, whether it's to ourselves or we're maybe doing it in a group of women in sort of this petty way when someone walks away, or we find that we might be that mean person that strikes out at someone because if we put someone else down, we make ourselves feel better. The first thing that we need to do is identify our true and real feelings about whatever situation that you're in. Maybe you had a bad start to your day and you're already feeling maybe a little bit negative about your day, how it started, and then your friend walks in the room and she's super excited about something great that happened to her, and you might have that natural inclination to just go to that downer place. What we really need to do is practice what I say here a lot, and that is find some personal development. Find some way that you can train yourself to stay in the positive. Even when you're having maybe not such a great day, so that you can find something that you're grateful for that can carry you through those hard times, so that when a situation arises, you can stay in that positive and it's going to not knock you into that deeper negative place that you might be inclined to maybe put someone else down to kind of make yourself in the short term feel a little bit better. Always seek out positive people, and make sure that you're surrounding your life with people who are positive and moving in the same direction you're moving in. I know that there's nothing that can bring a person's character down and really take you away from the base of who you want to be and what your intentions in your heart really are than a group of really negative people. So if you are in that sort of group, or maybe that kind of clique at work, or maybe your family is just sort of a negative downer type of situation when you're gathered together in a group, do your best to keep either the situation positive or find new friends. And I know when it comes to family, it can be a little bit difficult to separate out the negatives from the positives. But some of the best advice I've gotten through some of the counseling that I've been in for myself was that just do your due diligence at family events and then get the heck out as fast as you can if the people that you're associating with aren't living the same lifestyle or the same boundaries that you have set for yourself. And when it comes to friends, if your friends are bringing you down and they're negative Nellies and they're talking about people in a way that you know isn't a good feeling for you, then the best thing that you can do is limit down your friends and find friends that are going to bring you up and stay on the path that you're on. Another great way to end body shaming for us women once and for all is to confront body shamers. Stop them in the act and really help them realize what it is they're doing and how damaging and hurtful that is to other people, and how damaging and hurtful that is to them as the actual shamer. Be the person that steps up and is defending someone else who might be getting put down, especially in those situations where women can get really cliquey and really catty about someone else who might not be in the room. Be the person that steps up and defends that person that had walked away or maybe isn't present, and really stop the shaming in its act. And then the last thing is learn to love your own body. When you can start speaking positively about your body, it is so much easier to speak that way, or maybe even just become more complimentary of other women. Find the good in you, and then find the good in other women. We as a group of people, as women, have so much power, and we have so much influence, and we have so much that we can give to each other to help each other get through some really difficult times. It takes so little effort to say a kind thing, or to just smile at someone, or compliment them on their scarf or their hair, or what. It doesn't even have to be necessarily a body part, but even a sweater they're wearing or a color they're wearing, and really start practicing paying forward compliments. And just like thinking positively and doing positive things in your life, the more you practice it, the more it just becomes part of who you are naturally. And when that becomes who you are naturally, then that carries over, and then what you're going to find is the people that you're associating with will be more like you instead of them bringing you down. So we have the power to end body shaming and really lift our friends up and lift our girlfriends up and our family up by just setting the example of being the positive force in the room. The other area I wanted to discuss tonight was disappointment. And disappointment is really a form of sadness, or a sort of feeling of loss that comes between an expectation that we have set and the reality of a situation. So it's just sort of a gap of desires, so to speak, the hopeful desire and then the actual thing that's happening in our life. And there's some ways that we can get over disappointment. And I know in this community, and with what a lot of women are trying to do with intermittent fasting and changing and trying to figure out what they need to do in their feasting, and really experimenting with things, there can be that gap of disappointment from what you expected, or the timeline that you expected for yourself for things to happen, or the way in which you thought things were going to kind of fall into place for you, and maybe they haven't, and you got to learn to tweak a couple of things. And what we really need to start doing is opening up our mind and opening up our hearts a little bit to allow some space and allow the opportunity for that tweaking to happen so that we can find our groove. There is no one perfect way to intermittent fast. There's no one perfect way to feast your body. There's no one perfect way to exercise. There's no one perfect way to supplement your body. Every body is so perfectly made so that we are all so unique. We cannot always expect to be able to cookie cutter what someone else is doing and get the same exact results. We also can't judge people when they're doing something that is not cookie cutter to what you're doing. We have to start really opening up our minds and accepting the fact that every person is going to have their own unique journey, and it may be completely different from you, and it may seem like that is totally unfair, but what we have to really start understanding is that's just the way life is, and we need to just rely on creating our own journey. And that comes with what I always say here in this community, and the fact that we have to stay conscious. We have to stay mindful of what it is that we're doing in our fasting window, in our feasting window, what it is we're doing when we're exercising, how our body feels when we put something inside of it. Was it a good reaction? Was it a bad reaction? How are those things making you look? And how are those things making you feel? And do you actually feel like you're living your most authentic life? And if we stay in that very focused, mindful way of living our own lives out loud, then we can really find that authentic place. And if we're living our life authentically, it's really hard to be disappointed. You cannot be disappointed if you are doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing with your life, with your nutrition, with your fitness, with your relationships, and with your supplementation. And so give yourself a little bit of room, give yourself a little bit of grace, and allow your body to take the time that it needs to get this process down so you can actually get the results that you want. And then change some things up. The reason that I wanted to talk about these two very specific subjects today was because I often get, and not often, occasionally get private messages from women who either say they're disappointed in me or accuse me of body shaming. And I'm going to explain to you how these two situations just recently came about. And I don't take it too seriously or personally, but I do get a little bit upset when I get these kind of messages because it's not my goal at all. And I think that people might be misunderstood. And that's why I wanted to take the time to define these very clearly and give you guys some good advice on how to overcome these things. I am very purposeful with any woman who comes into this community, whether you take my course or you just want to hang out with us on Facebook and Instagram and on YouTube, that I never ever ask you to tell me how much you weigh, and I will never ever ask for you to give me a before picture of you. I don't care. That's your own personal journey. I would never ever expect someone to put themselves in an uncomfortable situation that made them feel super vulnerable and I don't want to say insecure, but just not happy with having to do something like that and give it to someone else. To me, that's body shaming, and I would never ever do that to anyone. On the flip side of things, I am very comfortable with the journey that I'm on, and I've been on a very long journey with intermittent fasting and a keto-like lifestyle. I've been struggling with my weight up and down my entire life. When I have a victory and I choose to share a picture of myself in a certain part of my body, whether it's something that's going on with my legs or it's my abs or it's us at the beach and I'm in a bikini, That's my choice. In no way are is my intent to ever body shame anyone else when I choose to do something with my own body. And the reason that I wanted to go through those definitions and give some very specific tips on how to overcome it is because if I show a picture of my success with what I'm doing with my intermittent fasting and my keto like lifestyle and what I'm doing in my fitness window, and that makes you feel bad, then you have to take that back and think about why it is someone else's success is making you feel shamed. And is it really someone else or is it you? And if it's you, figure out why that is and create a solution to that emotional problem. I always make sure that I am very, very respectful of every woman that's in this community, but I also have a way in which I live my life. I do it very openly, I do it very honestly, and I do it very authentically. And if that makes someone uncomfortable, I'm sorry that you have those feelings about you, but I'm not sorry for what I do in this community because my intent is to always give a woman who's here hanging out some hope that if you're struggling and you do the things that I suggest you do in this community, which is mostly just figuring out your own body, and I give you the tips and tricks to do that, then you should be proud of your accomplishments. And if that is different for you than the way I do it, I totally respect that. But by no means with whatever I share is it intended for anyone to feel shame. And if you do feel shame, I do ask you to take a second and pause about what's going on in your life. Another reason I wanted to also share the disappointment definition and some tips for that as well is my life is completely changing. What I was going through 3 years ago when I was sick and could barely get off my couch and I was depressed and I was overweight and I had so much fat on my body and I could not exercise and I had no idea what foods were making my body sick. I lived my life in a completely different way. Through the process of what I just described to you to where I am today is why we have intermittent fasting for today's aging woman. The process that I used to go from being barely able to get off of my couch to becoming the healed woman that I am today is exactly what I teach in intermittent fasting for today's aging woman. What I'm going through at this point moving forward looks different than what I teach in that course. And it's very different for a specific reason because I'm healed now, but I'm still helping so many women heal their bodies so they can get to this point, the point that a lot of us are sitting here today at, healed. But there's a process that you have to go through that's very specific to go from healed or healing to healed. I can't live the same lifestyle that I lived for the last 2 years when I was healing my body because now I'm doing more things. I'm working out very hard. I'm living a completely different lifestyle with my intermittent fasting and what I'm doing in my feasting. And that should not disappoint any of you. My philosophy here is for you to figure out your body. I don't give you a food list. I don't give you a meal plan. I don't tell you what to eat. I don't tell you what not to eat. I ask you to think. Think about what it is that you're putting in your body, why you're putting it in your body, and how that makes you look and feel. And then with all of that information, create your most authentic life. My most authentic life is in a current state of transformation. I'm changing a lot of things that I'm doing because I have this opportunity to make those changes now that I'm healed. If that is disappointing to you, again, I'm going to have to ask you to go back and ask yourself why you're disappointed. It has nothing to do with me and the things that I'm doing in my life today. Like I said, I will always be open and I will always be honest with you guys. So if you're feeling disappointed, I really, really highly recommend you go back and think about your day or go back and think about what point of your life and what point of healing that you're in and see if there might be a little gap somewhere, a gap that you maybe haven't considered that you should really consider for yourself, that if you figured it out, you might find that you're not disappointed and maybe just might be a little bit intrigued and at a point where you might be in a transition yourself and might be at a point where you can try doing some different things with your fasting and your feasting as well. I am a much more keto-like person than I was a year ago because I'm much more mature in what I'm doing with my fasting. So that means I can experiment so much more with what I'm doing in my feasting. And I've clearly identified all the foods that I have intolerances to. So my food list is very short, and I'm very, very strict with what I put in my body, which means now I have an opportunity to start transitioning into some new things that I'm trying, and I will share some of the new things that I'm trying here with you guys. But I really do encourage you to be in a place where you have an open mind and know that when you're ready, you might be in a position to transition there as well. But if you're still healing, you have to practice what it takes to get yourself from healing to healed. So I hope that clears up a little bit of why it was I wanted to talk about body shaming. I take body shaming very seriously, and I take it very personally. And I really, really do want to foster a community here where every single woman, regardless of what stage you're in with your intermittent fasting, your healing, what it is that you're doing in your feasting window, how it is that you incorporate fitness or maybe not fitness into your lifestyle, you're all welcome here. This is a very loving and open and mature community of women, and we only want to express an open mind and an open heart and a lot of grace for women, because going through a healing process is very, very difficult for some. And we want everyone to know that you're very welcome and that you're very loved here. And there's no shaming, and there should be no disappointment. So I'm going to go ahead and go through and welcome everyone and answer some questions that we have. And I'm going to start on Facebook if you guys don't mind, and then I'll jump on up to my friends up there on YouTube as well. D, hello, good to have you here. Thanks for being new. Hopefully you've hit that like button there on Facebook, and make sure you get set up for notifications so that when we go live or we post, you'll be notified on your device. Joy, good to have you here. Amanda, hello. Jill, good to have you. Carrie, good to have you, girlfriend. Donna, Susan, Samantha, Tracy's here. Tina, hello. Jane, Hollandia, hello. Good to see you, Yvonne, my hiking girlfriend. Betty, Rita, you always talk about great topics. Oh, thanks, Yvonne. Women, the whole emotional thing with women and body, it's very, very serious to me because I had so many struggles growing up with body image and just negative talk. And I think I told you guys the story about when I had Gabby, and I literally, not 24 hours after having my daughter, at 40 years old, mind you, my mother walks through my front door, and she up and downed me with her eyes, and her comment to me was, "Wow, I can see you haven't lost your baby weight yet." I hadn't even been home for 24 hours from delivering my daughter. But that's the kind of language that I grew up with in my house. And now those kind of things, they really don't bother me because I just think differently now through lots of personal development books, podcasts, and Oprah Winfrey shows. But, that was a hard way to grow up with that kind of language and those kind of descriptions about your body, especially as a young woman. So I take all of this very, very seriously and very, very personally, and I don't tolerate it whatsoever. Jillian, in here from Alberta. Haven't been able to tune in for a long time. Love this topic. Oh, good. Well, it's good to have you back from Alberta. Hopefully the weather there is great. Joy, for years I was so critical and ashamed of my body. It has been in the last year that I have come to really love and accept my body exactly the way it is right now. Weaknesses, flaws, as well as true beauty. There you go, Joy. That's the way to think. Diane, I haven't seen you for a long time. You are so excellent. Oh, thanks, Diane. It's good to have you back, too. Self-love for sure, Yvonne. That's the only way to do it. Jillian, we were taught to be ashamed of our bodies, that we need to be prettier, thinner, taller, etc. You got to change the inner dialogue and love yourself unconditionally. Not easy, but very freeing. It is super freeing, and it's not easy. And I don't think it should be treated like it should be easy either. I think that you should put the time in. You should put the work in. You should put a lot of effort into you and figuring out why it is we go through these struggles. And I think sometimes we don't spend enough time on the why. And I'm a huge why person. If you've been hanging around here for any length of time, like, why are we feeling that way? And I think if we can get to the root cause of it, and we talk about this in my courses where we do our our body stories and our food stories and those kind of things. You have to practice it like an exercise, and you really need to go through the steps of figuring out the whys behind all of this. And when you can get to the source and then you can work through that, then I think that's when you can really get yourself to that healing point, which I think is super important for all women. And then we've got to make sure that we practice that down to the young women in our lives who are watching us, whether it be your daughters, your granddaughters, neighborhood girlfriends, maybe you're a teacher and it's girls in your classroom, whatever it is, the way we carry ourselves, the way we speak about ourselves, the way we treat ourselves, is always being modeled to another younger woman coming up. And I think that if we can really change the way we do things, then we have the opportunity to change those young, precious women coming up behind us. Amanda, number one thing I'm teaching my daughter. Thank you for this. Awesome. Good mothering, Amanda. That's awesome. Tina, over the years, the more positive I have chosen to be, I have found that the negative Nellies have just fallen out of my life. Yeah. Negative people they feel really threatened by positive people. So just be super outwardly positive and they'll find their way. Susan, self-confidence is the best outfit. Rock it and own it. I agree. Hold your head up high and proud. Rita, we need to raise each other up instead of putting one another down. I agree 100%. Jillian, I'm very guilty of having trouble giving compliments. Okay, so it's an active practice. It's you put it on your to-do list. Put a reminder in your phone. Do whatever you have to do to just every day you're going to give one compliment out to someone, and then make sure it's genuine. And make sure you look them in the eye and they can feel what it is that you're trying to say to them. And that's one thing that I love about Gabby and I. Every other Saturday, we're part of the welcome team at church, and we greet people at the door. And I always make sure that I say things like, "Oh my gosh, great shoes," or if I think I like someone's haircut, I always make sure that the thought actually comes out of my mouth and gets to them, because compliments that we keep in our head don't do the person that we're thinking about any good. So just practice it and put yourself in those purposeful situations where you have the opportunity to compliment someone. And then, like I said, make sure it's genuine, look them in the eye, and make sure they can feel what it is that you're trying to say to them. Joy, I really appreciate your message about disappointment. Sometimes I think I should be farther along in my journey, giving myself grace, space, and time, and trust myself to do what is best for me with your help. Yeah, there you go, Joy. Grace, space, and time are all three things that we need for sure. People are always shocked when I say it took me a year to heal my body, because they think I did it overnight. But it was a really long, lonely, sad journey for me for a while when I didn't know what I was doing. And I had to tweak a lot of things, and I had to try a bunch of stuff, and I had to fail at a bunch of things before I finally got to that point where I was healed. And trust me, I'm going to do everything I can to never be sick again. But I did. I had to give myself the grace, space, and time as well. And when you get there, it's so worth it. Linda, I lost 30 pounds in 3 months eating this way. Yay, that's awesome. 10 pounds a month is great. And I know you're feeling much better, which is the most important thing. Dana, what type of fast? Intermittent fasting is what we do. So fasting within a 24-hour period. Linda, I appreciate you sharing that picture to me. It shows that progress can be made. Yep, it sure can. Linda, I eat once a day with keto meals. Yep, good for you. That's a great way to go. Rita, your photos are so encouraging. We've come a long way. Love all that you do for us, lady. Oh, Rita, thank you so much for saying that. And I always try to give a message. So one of the photos that I'm specifically referring to is the one where I said my parentheses abs are coming out. And I call them parentheses abs because I only get oblique muscles to show. I don't get like a six-pack set of abs. I've never been able to, even before my kids, and when I was probably 30 pounds lighter, I don't know, 20 pounds lighter. I've never been able to get a six-pack set of abs. And so my message was, just because you can't get something that looks like someone else doesn't mean that you're not as fit or you're not as whatever, you're as far along in your journey or whatever. So I've completely I don't care if I ever get six-pack abs. I've just reclassified my abs as parentheses abs because that's what they look like. They get defined on the outside like this, like a parentheses. And that's my thing. And when I have parentheses abs, I know everything that I'm doing is on target. My fasting, my feasting, and my fitness. And so I've let go of the thought that six-pack abs are what define a fit woman. They don't define a fit woman. A fit woman defines herself, and I happen to define myself with parentheses abs. And so that was the whole gist of that message. let's see, Dana, I struggle. Girlfriend, hang out here. We'll help you for sure. Um, willpower is one of those things you have to practice with, and you have to get to your why. So, Dana, if your willpower isn't strong enough to get you to your goal, you haven't identified your why yet. And your why should be a deep rooted emotional a reason that will keep you on track regardless of anything else that happens. Yvonne, you are amazing, Di. Keep sharing. I love sharing. I love to inspire others. Yeah, Yvonne, you're really good at it. You're a great inspirer for sure. Donna, this message is such a struggle for me. I'm 56 years old and have had it pretty much ideal weight all my life. I've always taken it for granted instead of being proud of this body. Now I fight to lose 10 pounds of menopausal weight up and down always. Yeah, and Donna, 10 pounds, like, congratulations. Like, you only have 10 pounds that you struggle with. There's so many women out there who have so much more that they're struggling with, and it came on like overnight. So I used to give myself a plus or minus 10 pounds. I could go up to a certain point, and then I could go down to a certain point. As long as I stayed between that 10 pounds, I felt like I was doing everything I needed to do. So Donna, give yourself a window and know that there's just going to be some days you weigh more, and then there'll be days you weigh less, and who knows why that is. It's just the way our bodies work, and then that way you can enjoy enjoy your body, and not be so worried about constantly being perfect. Our bodies are never at a steady state. So if you're expecting your body to weigh the same exact thing every single day, you'll never be happy. So let that go and give yourself a plus or minus, and that will be the best way you can settle into that for sure. Okay, I'm going to read some YouTube comments and I'll come back to Facebook because Facebook's got a lot over there. Tina signed up for your course today and had a first day of a clean fast. I'm so excited to learn more. Awesome, Tina, and thanks for jumping in with us. We're glad you were able to get into the July course. Christy, hello from Kansas City, an F3 course. I know you're doing well. Pamela, hello, girlfriend. Little Pickle, I'm guilty of that, but getting better. I don't know what you were talking about there. Hopefully, maybe body shaming or body shaming yourself, probably. My mom is like that too. Sorry to hear that, Diane. Oh yeah, don't, it is what it is. I feel bad for people who are so hateful that they have to make other people feel small. So don't feel bad for me, feel bad for her. She's the one that's living the miserable life. I'm super happy, so I'm good. Pamela, I have a girlfriend that loves to gossip about everyone else. She's so hard to be around. Yeah, I would maybe reclassify her as an acquaintance and not a girlfriend. Those are scary women to be around. Christy, my new favorite quote of yours is "Do you?" Yeah, exactly. It is freedom. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Do you, and do you well, and then you can really enjoy the person that you spend the most time with, which is you. So that's a great way to live. Linda, sometimes people can be sensitive about themselves and how they look, and from that place they compare themselves to other women, and they can't really celebrate the successes of others. Yeah, that's a hard way to live when you can't celebrate others' successes, because celebrating other successes really allows you to celebrate even your own successes in a better way. So we have to learn to be really gracious for other people. Let's see, Pamela, you're such a kind and supportive person. Love that you've shared your journey. I've learned so much about myself and all the courses you put together. Pamela, thanks for hanging out with us. I've learned a lot from you too. Terry, hello, girlfriend. And Marnie, missed most of this. We'll catch it when it's finished. Awesome, Marnie. Hang out for the comments. We always learn so much with the comments if you can. Let's see. What type of fast and how often should I start with fasting? Dana, join our course. I teach you all of that. There's a link in the comment section. And if you want to get into July, sign up tonight and we'll slide you in. We just started. Yay, that story brings me to tears. Oh, don't let it bring you to tears, girlfriend. Sandy, awesome girlfriend. Thanks for watching. Sandra, what products with any kind of soy why products with any kind of soy makes me feel sick? Because soy is or soy lecithin mostly is a cheap filling agent, so it's super cheap preservative, and it makes everybody sick. Most people just don't know it. And then soy itself is a huge hormone imbalancer for most women. It makes us very estrogen dominant, and when your body's trying to regulate its hormones and sort of downplay some of the hormones we have going on in our body because we don't need them anymore, and then you put a bunch of stuff in it that makes your estrogen go crazy, it makes you feel sick. So the best way, in my personal advice and what we've learned here in this community, to feel better and not feel sick is to get all forms of soy out of your life. see how you feel, and then experiment with putting some stuff back in. A drop of soy sauce now makes me super, super sick. I can't touch any soy, and I'm super grateful that I figured that out because I think that was a really big healing point for me personally, and for a lot of other women too. Donna, trying to keep the internal self-dialogue positive is a daily struggle. Donna, that's why you have to do positive things purposely, whether that be reading a book, listening to a podcast. If you're a Bible reader, read your Bible, do your prayers, listen to uplifting music, be around positive people. Happy for a lot of us has to become something that we practice every single day, especially if we are women who are raised in a negative environment or a woman beat down type of environment where you weren't around a lot of supportive and loving women. You have to purposely do that. And I grew up literally watching like Phil Donahue and I probably totally just aged myself there. Phil Donahue and Oprah Winfrey and like those types of shows, like for some reason, like just clicked for me, and they made me feel like I was going to be okay, and that some certain things in my life that I experienced were wrong, even though like they seemed like they were just normal things in my everyday life. And it really did help me come to grips with things, and I think it really saved me when I was a really young, really troubled young woman and really lost. And I credit a lot of that to where I am today. So read a book, listen to a podcast, go to church, find a really positive, influential girlfriend and ask her to go have a cup of coffee with you. Anything that you can do to force yourself into positivity until it becomes part of who you are innately, you have to do it for sure. And it's great that you've noticed that and identified that in yourself, so now you can proactively do some things. Lori, when I hit menopause, 50 pounds came on overnight, right? I tried everything for 4.5 years, and intermittent fasting was the only thing that balanced my hormones and got me back to my slender, fit self again. Yeah, congratulations. And it takes a while. You know, a lot of the reason why we put on weight when we hit menopause is because it's that time where our body just says enough is enough, and it just starts to revolt on us. And it's because of years and years and sometimes decades of damage that we have done to ourselves with calorie restriction and under eating, over exercising, too little fat, too many carbs, and it just catches up and it like hits us like a truck. We have to give ourselves that grace, the time, and the space to undo all of that. It's not going to happen overnight. But the beautiful thing about incorporating intermittent fasting and really paying attention to what your body looks and feels like when you're in that feasting window and finding that emotional why that's going to keep you on track is that the slow process of undoing all that damage is such a beautiful journey when you can be positive, when you're in a supportive community, when you have like-minded girlfriends, even if it's on the internet and you never meet face to face. Like some of my dearest, sweetest friends and conversations that I have are with all of you women here. And that is what has really helped me be so successful on my own journey with what I'm doing with healing my body and my family and being able to share all of our stories and experiences. So find that, and then that will help you enjoy the journey and get you to that happy place with your body. But it does take time for sure. Do you know of a good soy sauce substitute? Coconut aminos are good. It's an okay substitute for it. I just don't do soy sauce. I just don't do it anymore. I have found so many different other things to use that I really have no purpose for soy sauce in my life anymore. But if you want something coconut aminos are a good substitution. You can find them at most health food stores, and I think Trader Joe's has a good version as well. Donna, I agree on the shows also. A lot of Oprah Super Soul shows are so inspiring. There you go. So just make sure that you have it on your calendar and you don't go too long without watching one, so you always keep that positive frame of thought on the forefront of your mind.
What about the Bragg's amino?
Bragg's aminos is soy. Mm-hmm.
No, what was the one we used to like that wasn't soy?
I don't. Bragg's aminos are soy.
Okay.
Yeah. I couldn't do those either. Amanda, closed my fitness pal because it distracted me from me. Yeah, there you go. Just, eyeball, I hate to say eyeball stuff because it seems so flippant and like it's like our food isn't serious, but you should be able to figure out how much of something you're supposed to eat based on how you look and feel. And when you balance out your hunger hormones, your body will send you signals on when you need to eat and what nutrients look satisfying to you or your body's in need of. You'll visually be able to see food, and your neurotransmitters will be able to recognize whether you need something because of your hunger hormones. Let your body do what it's designed to do, and it'll tell you by sending you signals of what you need to do. And then once you start smoothing things out with your intolerances and stuff, with food reactions, then it just becomes super easy to figure out the foods that you need for sure. Let's see. Missed most of this. I can't read that one. Blue, hello. Linda, I feel the same way about shows like Oprah. Definitely helped me with my own healing journey. Yeah, for sure. I used to call her Aunt Oprah, Auntie Oprah. Okay, so anything else I can help you guys with before we close out tonight? Body shaming. It's our responsibility as happy, healthy, positive women to shut down and close out body shaming anytime we see it happening to one of our friends or to another woman. And the best way to stop body shaming in its tracks is to stop body shaming yourself. Make sure you're finding something good about yourself that you can say out loud while you're looking at yourself in the mirror that's positive and it's going to get you on that positive note for your day. And then stop body shaming other people. If you find that you're in a situation where you're body shaming other people, stop yourself and think about why it is you're doing it. What's going on with you internally, whether it's your heart or your head or something that's going on in your life that's making you feel so bad that you have to make someone else feel bad, and then try to get that fixed. And then disappointment. Give yourself the grace and the time and the space that you need to get to the point of your journey where you find the satisfaction that you're looking for. And then make sure that you're finding satisfaction. Don't keep chasing that next goal or that next expectation. When you hit a goal that you feel happy about, celebrate, pause there for a second and give yourself a break. Enjoy the journey. It took us a long time to get messed up. Give yourself the time to get fixed, and fix yourself the right way in all aspects. Make sure that what you're doing is making you look and feel your best, and that you're purposely finding a way to live your life authentically. So once and for all, you can be happy with yourself and your life. Let's see. Last question. Oh, Donna, you're awesome, Diane. You should be so proud to bring so much peace to all these women. Oh, Donna, thank you so much. It's been a long time. And so I'm just sharing what it is I had to go through for myself. And I'm still a work in progress. So I'm definitely not perfect. And I'm very willing to share whatever it is that I have going on with me, with you guys. And I'll close out with this. Like I said, I'm in a very transitional space in my life, not only with what I'm doing with my own personal journey, but thanks to this amazing community of women, I have a lot of great opportunities that are coming upon me and the forefront of my business. And so I'm going to be sharing some of the great opportunities that I have coming to me with all of you. Like I said, I will always be very open, and I will always be very honest. And my underlying mission is always you having the opportunity to figure out what is best for you based on how you want to look and feel and how you want to live your life authentically. With that, I'm going to say goodnight to all of you. I hope you have a great day tomorrow. Find something positive that you can say about it yourself, and then really think about a woman that you come across tomorrow, and is there something about her that you can find that you can compliment her on with your heart. Make sure that you do it genuinely, look her in the eye, and make sure she can feel what it is that you're trying to share with her, and you might just possibly change the course of her day. Have a great night, you guys. As always, thanks so much for spending your night with me.